The Gang. Oh boy, The Gang. What started out as a simple little update video kicking an actor from this little group called The Gang on YouTube turned into this really even stupider thing between all of us. And even though this video is just adding to that fire, I don't care. We're gonna expose them. We're gonna expose The Gang. We're exposing Ashton. We're exposing Zeke. We're exposing all of them. All of them, they're gonna be torn to shreds after this video. They're not gonna have anything to go home to. Their mom is gonna kick them out of their house. Why would they do that? I don't know. Let's get into the story. On New Year's of 2015 going on to 2016, the beginning of, some might say, the worst year ever, started out as what seems fun. But right at the start of 2017, it's been a booby trap all along. 2016 was terrible. Nothing good happened in it. Now, the first Barbara video was made very randomly. There was no back planning it. They just went to Hy-Vee and decided to screw around with a smartphone camera. And they just uploaded it to this channel, and then nothing happened for a while. 5 months later, they do a Barbara and Susan go shopping video. And then somewhere around this point, they had an update video that they were going to upload more, but they deleted that, so I don't know when it was. But right around then, they said, oh, we're going to upload more, and they have been. And then somewhat recently, they decided to kick him. Now, as of their reasoning on why they kicked him, that'll be for this next part of the video. So this character named Barbara, it's a simple one. There's not much personality in it, and it just kind of runs around, does random stuff, and I think it's a woman. But, you know, that could be contested. So why does such a simple character create all this madness when fired? Maybe it's because the two most popular videos on the Gang's channel are Barbara videos. Number one being Barbara and Susan Go Shopping at 957 views, and the second one being the very original and first video on the Gang's channel entitled Barbara Goes Shopping at 767 views. Now, since the two most popular videos on the channel are Barbara videos, and it's by a landslide, the third one being Mr. Dadley's Nature Walk at 286 views, this mostly fuels the argument for Barbara made the channel. And in some ways it's true, and in some ways it isn't. But we're talking more about why they got fired rather than how important Barbara was and how important it was to the Gang. The first update video the Gang made was very vague and used the term personal issues like every 5 seconds it seemed. And then what the real information boom was in the podcast, which was a total of 40 minutes long, while the original update video was only 5 minutes. The 40-minute podcast contained answers to comments, a response to Kalik's video, and just a follow-up to everything in general. It was pretty nice. It showed a lot of information, but it also gives us a lot of ammunition to throw back at them. So how about we take a look at this podcast? Alright, before we start off with the podcast part of this video, it's time to play one of my favorite games ever. It's called
Bullet Ball and Bullet Ball Extreme.
No, it's actually called Zeke Tries to Be Cultured.
The problem with being more professional. This is kind of an argument that the Young Turks made about like the word intellectual is now used as an insult. One of you intellectual folk, you know.
Truly amazing. He tries so hard here. He stutters about 5 million times. This is the problem about making a 40-minute video / podcast. You don't get any redos, you know. Like, they went on about so many topics and they just decided to do one take, and this is the one they went with. I don't get it. I really don't get it. But on to the podcast some more. There's a lot of spicy stuff up in here. Let me pull it up. So the podcast is broken up into 2 parts for some reason. I'm not quite sure why I didn't upload it into one. So in the first part, it's very simple. They say, oh, we used to like Dylan, and now we hate him. And they go over the comment section. By the comment section, I mean they only get to Dylan's comment because it takes them 10 minutes to review it. And they pretty much say the same stuff over and over again. But there is an interesting little moment when they're talking about Dylan's comment. And that's this little tidbit in there about why the Barbara videos got so many views.
Cover like what a lot of comments say. Like, so there's this whole thing like, oh, Barbara is what made the channel famous. The thing is, okay, and Barbara's the most popular character. I just want to kind of overview a couple of things. When we first started this channel, it started with the Barbara Goes Shopping. And we posted that on the Pyrosonical Reddit forum around 30 times, I'd say.
Alright, so let's pull up Zeke's Reddit page and... oh look, we get some posts containing the original Barbara video, entitling that the kid is definitely the new Filthy Frank. But may I ask, since when does 4 equal 30? I'm not quite sure if Zeke knows how to count at this point. And as for the gang calling Barbara the new Filthy Frank, don't worry, we'll get to that later. Everything Zeke says about his Reddit in the podcast is almost completely wrong every time. The one thing he did get right is that he did post their YouTube videos on the Pyrocynical forum, but he also released it on H3 r/videos, which got taken down because apparently it broke a rule, and some other third one I can't think of right now, and I'm too lazy to look up. But let's just take a closer look at what he says in the podcast and compare it to his Reddit.
And then later on, we uploaded, or 6 months later, we uploaded Barbara and Susan Go Shopping, which I also...
Really 6 months later? Jesus.
Yeah. Something like that. I reposted that many times on the Pyrosonical Reddit forum.
Now this is Zeke's Reddit page, with all of his posts included. He hasn't made that many. The only Barbara videos posted is the very original one, and none of the second or the third one.
Now, Mr. Dadley's Nature Walk was never reposted or anything, and it made it its way to 267. Film yourself sucking dick and then post it. 100,744% better option. Now this guy knows what's up. Kill yourself. QWERTY says. Hey, if you take your subs and reverse it, it becomes 16. Okay, shut up, Kurt.
Now I'm sorry that those past 2 or 3 clips had nothing to do with Zeke's Reddit, but there isn't that much on there, and I just wanted to show you to that sooner than later. But one last thing I do want to show about Zeke's Reddit is this little post here that includes some good old family racism. And now with that out of the way, let's finish up this video by covering part 2 of the podcast they uploaded. Now this part of the video will just involve me showing you the clips of the podcast and then me giving my comments after it.
I took out 2 comments. I deleted Mao Chan's comment, and he's a friend of ours. He literally...
We were in a Skype call with him when he left the comment.
He made that as a joke, really. We're friends with him.
Here they try to make Mao Chan look like a really close friend of theirs when really he's just someone they know that came from Reddit that's like halfway across the globe.
A person who is extremely biased towards Dylan named Isaac, and I took out his comment because I know him personally, and I said to myself, okay, if he and I was gonna text him later, I was gonna say, listen, I'm not gonna freaking deal with your comments. If you want to say something about this whole situation, say it to my fucking face, okay?
It's not like
don't go hiding behind your little Minecraft character profile picture and post on our YouTube channel with your retarded comments.
If you know us personally, don't say it on YouTube. Say it to us.
Now they really just go all out on Isaac for no apparent reason. And Zeke said he was going to text him. Keyword going to. He never actually did. And he acts like Isaac has so many ways to contact them personally when he really doesn't. There's no way for him to really talk to Ashton or Zeke directly, and we were in the middle of Christmas break, so we couldn't go to school and see each other there. And even when we did come to school, he ignored pretty much both of us 24/7. Also, on a side note, Isaac said all this pretty much already. He commented on the podcast part 2 under the tag user774381710 since he didn't make a username on SoundCloud. But I'll link both the parts to the podcast in the description if you want to see it in his own words.
There's the whole Brandon Rogers ripoff argument, which literally the only videos that were
we created Barbara Goes Shopping with an intention to
making
be
it like
a
Brandon
Rogers-ish video, because we do find Brandon Rogers very amusing. He's very funny to us.
Yeah.
And we wanted to experiment and try to make something like that. And since then we've deviated from that. And now his only argument, to the point that we are ripping off Brandon Rogers, is because we have characters
and we have like cuts in a way that he does.
Like zooms and cuts that are still that are in like the shows like The Office.
Okay, so right here they say that they made the video with an intention of it being like Brandon Rogers, and then immediately get mad that they're calling him a Brandon Rogers ripoff because they do things like him that are also in different things. But you still said you tried to make Brandon Rogers, so if he's calling you out on that, that's just true. And after that, the podcast is pretty much complete. They just say that they gave Dylan some opportunities that he didn't take, and that's about it. But when I started filming this on January 4th, it was still a pretty hateful relationship between the two. But as of today, January 7th, on the gang's second channel, they uploaded something called Barbara.mp4, where they're apparently hanging out with Dylan again. So maybe there's something going on there. Maybe they're getting back together. It could be a hallelujah, Jesus, bring back Barbara 2K17. Could be a true thing after all. So I'll link the gang's channel, the gang's second channel, and the gang's second channel new video, Barbara.mp4, all in the description. All the info you need will be down there. Hope you have a good day. And see you later.
And we are not going to watch you jerk off to this video.